There's 5 factors in mental fortitude. Number 3 is personality. Now, people will say that certain people are born with certain personalities, and I would agree with that some, but also I think we can develop our personalities, and some people are just fortunate to have a personality from a young age that people just kind of want to be around them, and they're positive, and they tend to generate healthy things around them, right? Other people have less award-winning charisma. They just do. Some people are born with charisma, and some people have to develop charisma. So let's go back to number 1. We cannot necessarily change our genetics. Some of the genetic makeups of our brain we cannot change. Now, we can grow through those, we can learn from those, and we can certainly, from everything from nutrition, right, to counseling, we can work on the brain we were given genetically. That number 2 stage of life experiences, we cannot control what happens to us in life. And as children, we certainly can't control what happens to us, and usually can't even control our reaction because you're a child, right? But as you develop into a decision-making adult, you can choose to go back to that childhood and go, were they lessons or were they attacks? Are they lessons or are they traumas? Are they lessons? And a trauma can also be a lesson. I'm not saying that something can't be traumatic, right? It can be a trauma, but it can just be a trauma that stays a trauma, or it can be a trauma that is a teachable lesson, right? Now we get into personality. Some people are just born with charisma. You know these people. You walk into a room and you're like, damn, I didn't know that, we were at a one-woman show. And you don't mean that in a negative way. They just own a room and they light up a room. And then some people have less of a charismatic personality. There is no evidence that extroverts have an advantage over introverts. As a matter of fact, there's been a lot of scientific study and things that introverts can actually have an advantage over extroverts, because us extroverts are so busy talking, we don't ever learn anything or hear what's being said. So there's not that there's one advantage over the other, but mentally strong people who have really strong mental fortitude recognize who they are. That's the key. They're very certain and clear about, am I extroverted? Am I introverted? Am I a charismatic? Or would I say I'm not a charismatic? And when they recognize their strengths and their weaknesses, they can use their personalities to help them reach full potential. And they also learn, the extrovert, the extreme extrovert, who's the charismatic, who lights up the room, learns when they need to be more of a shadow than a light. Does that make sense, everybody? And the introvert, who may be less charismatic, really understands who they are, and they begin to develop their brain and their body and their communication style to know that there's times when I have to turn the light on. I'm an introvert and I'm taking everything in and I'm processing and I get what's going on, but if I don't speak out at some point, I will be silenced forever. So yes, we can be born with different personality styles, but this is something we can control. And it is not that if you're an extrovert or you're highly charismatic, you need to learn to be an introvert. Or it's not that if you're an introvert, you need to learn to be an extrovert. You need to learn to master what you are. Does that make sense? You need to learn to use it and master what you are, and you need to learn that there are times when the other side needs to come forward for you to move forward.